Hello, folks. Welcome in Thursday night Gridiron. It is time, ready to go. Yes, I'm in jet gear for reasons. Unfortunately, the Jets are not out of it. I don't care what anyone says. So I'm going to keep wearing this, and you're going to see this until the Jets are completely out of the playoff picture, which is not the case because thanks to a couple losses, Raiders, Dolphins, um, and wins, Jets, the Jets are back in it at 5-8. And they have an actual chance to win out. And if everything goes right, get into a wild card spot. So that's why you see me in jet gear. But no, welcome in Thursday Night Gridiron. Bill Murphy, come in. How's it going, man?
Hey, what's going on, buddy? As you can see, Reg is still celebrating that Dolphins loss on Monday night.
Oh, it's that was phenomenal, man. Yeah. And the best part about it, and we'll get to the Dolphins in a little bit, the fans are scared shitless, dude. It is absolutely hilarious to see all these Dolphins fans scared to play the Jets.
They were beating their chests not too long
Oh
ago, and
yeah, yeah.
now
No, the Black Friday. Hey, we kicked your ass. The Fail Mary, wherever the hell you want to call it. That dumb shit. Tim Boyle throw the end of halftime, which again they should have taken the damn knee. Yeah, and everything. We beat you up, the Fail Mary, everything. They were clowning us on Black Friday, and now all of a sudden they do not want any part of us, which again, a bit of an overreaction here because we all know that the Jets are going to screw it up anyway,
they're gonna jet it up, aren't they?
unless they don't. So I'm going to be very excited. Um, so yeah, Dolphins are scared shitless. We'll get to the Dolphins in rapid fire. Um, but Bill, we have a Thursday night game. Um, yeah, it's not a good Thursday night game.
A game nobody wants to talk about. A
Yeah.
game nobody wants to watch.
But we'll talk about it because it's our jobs, and you know we have to talk about something because there's we have the show and we have to do something, and I'm just trying to avoid talking about the Chargers and the Raiders, who are both 5-8, both
We
are
could talk about the Star
tied.
Wars prequels like we did that one time.
Oh yeah, yeah, we can do that, or we can talk about uh classic Disney songs like uh I don't know.
You know it's bad when we're talking about Star Wars, Disney,
Yeah,
or we could talk about that episode of Mixed Bag we did last night of most
yeah.
hated Christmas songs.
Oh yeah, you did do that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, go watch it. I went on a rant about a certain song. Go watch it. It's hilarious, I promise. But anyway,
Heck,
um,
watching Jungle Book is better than watching this game. That's for sure.
okay, the original Jungle Book or the one from a couple years ago?
Ew, no, the original one.
I, I'm just gonna say this. I actually think that live action remake, I actually don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, a lot of these live action remakes aren't the worst things in the world, but everyone knows they should have just left it alone. Like it's okay. Like it can be good, but it could also be unnecessary to make. Just
I'll
leave
say
it
the
as it
two
is.
worst live action remakes were The Lion King, and that hurts me because that is one of my favorite Disney films.
Hmm.
And the other one was the Dumbo remake. Um,
Dumbo.
oh my God, it was yeah. But anyway, we
Did,
could
did
sit
you?
here and talk about
Yeah.
Star Wars, Disney reboots, bad Christmas songs, but unfortunately, we have a job to do.
Yeah,
So
we do have a job to do, so we'll continue to move forward. Like I said, the Chargers and Raiders, they're tied at 5-8. I believe the Chargers have the upper hand in the AFC West uh for the third place spot, and that's because in week 4 the Chargers beat the Raiders, so they obviously have the tiebreaker in terms of those standings. But of course, that doesn't matter. What really matters is where they stand in the playoffs, and both are pretty much below a lot of teams that are 6 and 7.
Because it's like in this division, it's like the Chargers and Raiders are fighting for not last place.
Yeah, they're fighting to not be the worst team in the division, and they're also fighting for some sort of pride. Both teams have taken massive hits over the last few weeks. Raiders with coaching changes and you know losing their starting quarterback, though. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is fine, but they somehow believe more in Aiden O'Connell than Jimmy G, which is shocking. Um, and
After
then
you signed him last year, well done, Raiders.
yeah, and then yeah, the both teams have big quarterback issues. Herbert gone for the year. We'll explain why in a sec. So now they got to play this backup, that has barely touched the damn ball, and it's both teams have taken a lot of hits over the weeks, and it ain't pretty, dude. It's not really pretty to watch.
What, a quarterback who I haven't even heard of, Easton Stick.
Yeah, he's a Division 1 AA product out of North Dakota State. He was drafted a couple years ago. I think at first he was like a third stringer for the Chargers, but has since worked his way up to QB2, which is why he's starting now. Um, so I mean, I'll give you his stats right now. His career numbers don't really show much. He's getting barely past the damn ball, but he's 14 to 25 with 183 yards and a completion percentage of 56%. And again, most of that came from Sunday's loss to the Broncos. So yeah, like the Chargers right now, um they're in disarray. They lost to Denver last week. They lose Justin Herbert because of a finger. He fractured his index finger that required surgery. And yeah, on top of their quarterback issues, I mean, no Keenan Allen, he's out because of a heel. Um, they lost their cornerback Leonard because of their ankle. And right now everything on top of the terrible coaching that we have from Brandon Staley, nothing's going right for this LA team. It's just
And
really bad.
oh yeah, it is. When you have no Herbert, you have no Keenan Allen. I think your big, and this is like sort of tying into everything here. I think your big factor tonight is going to be Austin Eckler.
And how much can Easton Stick engage Austin Eckler to do exactly what he can do? You're asking for a lot of carries from him, which
Oh,
is
absolutely.
at a tall order if you don't trust the quarterback.
Yes, like because it's, a backup quarterback who's seen like what 5 seconds of action. And but also I think someone else you gotta hit is Quentin Johnson,
Hmm.
your other wide receiver. I think he's gonna be a big heavy I think that he's gonna have a heavy load tonight because
Right.
there's no Keenan Allen.
Hmm.
So this Chargers team is gonna look. I'm Reg, agree or disagree with me? This Chargers team is probably gonna get overwhelmed tonight.
Yeah, well, offensively, defensively, they could um sure get job done, though they've also struggled throughout this season too. Um,
But you remember, you're facing an offense that got shut out last week.
yeah, and that's another thing. And I mean, how brutal was that by the Raiders? Um, so what do you do? Like you have to you need your defense to come up big because we all know the Raiders aren't very good. They can't move the ball. They struggled against Minnesota, and they're still playing their quarterback. I mean, the defense has to come up big. I know Khalil Mack comes up big at times, and he's actually been a big driving force um, for that defense. But this game has to be on the offense because they have to make sure that they score. So there's a couple ways that they could try to get the job done here on Thursday night. And but the problem is, I don't know if you trust the Chargers enough to actually get that job done. That's the thing. That's the major thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because, like we said, the offense, you're not going to have Herbert.
Mhm.
You're not going to have Allen.
Yeah.
So I think this offense is going to get overwhelmed tonight. You
Yeah,
have a quarterback that, again, has seen 5 seconds of the NFL.
exactly.
You have your, and are you going to overload Austin Eckler
Mhm.
and Quentin Johnson?
Yeah, it's one of those things that you really it puts the Chargers really in a massive hole. And if they don't figure out how to win tonight, I mean, you might as well just kiss everyone goodbye in that coaching staff, because that's what all it comes down to is the coaching plan, the game plan. Like, is it gonna be any better? Because let's be honest, the Raiders you can beat. This is a team that's very beatable, and I know the Chargers don't have everybody, but the Chargers have more talent than the Raiders do. That's the sad part.
But yeah, and that's the thing with the Chargers right now. You say with this coaching staff, Brandon Staley, he's in the hot seat
Massive. It's hell right now on that chair.
because, I said this with Mike Rifkin last week. It's not a matter of if Brandon Staley's going to get fired, it's a matter of when. And there's all the rumors that Belichick might be, because the reports about him that they're parting ways, him in New England. There's rumors that he might want to go to Los Angeles.
I mean, it's not the worst idea if you're the Chargers because you have an established quarterback, probably a good offense that you can bring your coaching staff, and they'll probably give them uh an absolute beating and whip him into shape and everything. So it's not the worst idea for Bill Belichick. Change of scenery would be nice, LA versus New England. I'm sure that's a much nicer, but bigger lifestyle for sure.
But regardless of whether it's Belichick or someone else, I think that the Chargers, if Stately gets fired, or I'm sorry, when Stately gets fired, the Chargers is going to be one of the most attractive head
Mhm.
coaching
I agree.
positions
Yeah, no,
come.
I 1,000% agree, especially with Herbert there, and Herbert's the real deal. I know he gets a lot of crap because he's regressed, and he has regressed. Um, but the regressions on the coaching staff. You get someone like Bill Belichick in there with all the coaching staff that he's ever had in his career, he'll be fine. Herbert will definitely have bounce back year. Um, and will do everything to salvage every ounce of his playing days in the NFL, and he'll have a resurgence. He really have will have, um, because there's talent there for with Herbert when he's healthy. Obviously, there's talent there.
There is talent for Herbert, and you know, when you look at this, like I said, it's going to be the most attractive because you got a franchise quarterback. You have Quentin Johnson and Keenan Allen and wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to running back, Austin Eckler, who's going to be a free agent, we can touch upon that in a sec.
Right.
You're going to have a you are going to have a team that's set but could use some tweaking. So
Yeah.
when Stately gets fired, regardless of who's gonna be his replacement, whether it be Bill Belichick or whoever, or maybe they'll give Kellen Moore, maybe they'll promote him, or maybe he'll go somewhere else. But they have they have the pieces of a good team. So I think when the when Stately gets fired, they're gonna have a they are going to have a that's going to be one of the most attractive head coaching spots in the NFL. And now, speaking of Austin Eckler, as you know, at the end of the season, he's a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's staying in Los Angeles, or do you think he's going somewhere else?
He'll get some type of offers elsewhere. Um, Depends on what he wants. If he wants to stay in LA with the Chargers, like have at it. Um, it wouldn't shock me if he goes elsewhere, only because he's a good running back and too good not to get a big offer to go elsewhere. And
Yeah, but you know what the market is for running backs.
I understand that, but you know, people act like the running back value has gone way down to a point where they can offer them chump change. It's like, no, it's a still very important position. Now, has the running back position changed over the past few years? Yeah, of course it has. We can't ignore. But it doesn't mean that he won't be fielded offers. It just means he won't just get big offers like they give wide receivers or quarterbacks. So he'll get offers somewhere. And look, if he wants to stay and hopefully stick with the stability of one franchise, a lot of players just want to stick with one franchise, and that's fine. But does he want to win? And if he wants to win, well, he's going to go elsewhere because the Chargers right now, um, even though they're maybe a player away from winning, do you trust that the Chargers are going to make the right decisions in the offseason to one, want to keep you, and two, to build a championship? So that those are the sort of things that Eckler has to think about. Because again, he's too good. He's too good, and he deserves to be on a team where he knows he has a good chance of at least going for it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on that. I think maybe he needs to be with a team that actually has a chance of winning.
Mhm.
But like I said, if you get a new coach and they're saying, I see the pieces here, then the Chargers better bend over backwards to try to keep Eckler in Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. Like, um, if he gets a coach like, for instance, Belichick, you mentioned him, they can get someone like Belichick. I think that's leverage. Um, it's funny how we're talking about the market for running backs.
Because look what happened last year to Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, but like. it's fascinating because it's now becoming what's the word? The market's becoming so underrated all of a sudden. Like they've devalued that position so much that it's almost an afterthought, which is so weird. So I hope Eckler gets his deal. I mean, he's probably not going to make the most money in the world, uh, but I hope he gets a good deal and definitely um uh goes out and wins something and plays well and is on a good team, not a very dysfunctional franchise. So Bill, for tonight, with a very depleted LA team, we need a player that has to come up big in order for them to win. Who do you think that player is?
I'm going to say Quentin Johnson because, like I said, without Keenan Allen tonight, I think Quentin Johnson's going to be that receiver that Easton Stick is going to really be hitting tonight.
Mhm. Yeah, to me, it's Stick, and the reason why is because uh, we just need him to be a good game manager, and then you just allow the game to come to you, and you don't turn the ball over. You move the ball, try to score as many points as possible, and look, the Raiders also have depleted parts of their team too. It's not like the Chargers are the only one. So if he could really be that big time game manager and make plays when he has to, but not go overly crazy, there's something there with him. Like there could be something there with him. I mean, one of the things that he said during this week was that um, because he came from North Dakota State. So he said that North Dakota State's not the NFL, but he's used to winning. It's all about having that mindset to win.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
so that's actually one thing to look out for. So, well, he needs to come up big. No Herbert. Got to have a quarterback in there. Hopefully, he's competent enough to lead them to victory.
I Yeah, so yeah, can the Chargers do it without Herbert? Well, we're just gonna have to wait and see, won't we?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll watch as they face the Raiders. They lost 3-0 last week against the Minnesota Vikings.
I don't know if you
3
saw this meme. Yeah,
to
I feel like
nothing.
there was this about the Las Vegas Golden Knights, how they scored a goal in the game last week, and they said the Vegas Knights have officially outscored the Raiders.
Well, both of them outscored the Raiders. They didn't score any points. They scored no
Okay.
points. Anyone outscored the Raiders that week. The Jets outscored the Raiders. Um,
The Giants outscored the Raiders.
yeah, even the Texans, they scored 6 points. Um,
The
Look,
poor Raiders. You know what? I am getting sick of these like low scoring shutout games.
yeah, no, well, for one thing, it's the quarterback play. Quarterback play, and I know there have been a lot of injuries. The quarterback play, especially in the NFC, has been an absolute disaster. Disaster. I mean, it's like everyone forgot how to play the damn position. You have turnover after turnover after turnover. You have no team scoring touchdowns. You have players going in there for the first time getting their asses kicked. And you're wondering like, oh my God, like what has the league come to in terms of the quarterback? So it's been a rough year for the main position of the offense, the head honcho, of the offense. It's been pretty rough to watch. But despite his struggles, 21 for 32, 171 yards, and an interception, Aiden O'Connell is starting. And the way I see this decision by Antonio Pierce is this. He obviously has no clue what he's doing because he's not a head coach. He's an assistant coach who was thrown in there because they had to throw somebody in there. They weren't going to look for a coach mid-year, so he's the only one with some type of head coaching experience, high school. And and it was the and really the only one that could pretty much energize, and he did for a little bit. He energized the Raiders locker room, so I
Yeah.
give him that
But
credit. But
you know what? I
but
think they. I'm
they're
sorry. Go
they're
on.
the idea is they're just trying to get by to the end of the season when they can, actually make a real head coaching change and build a team in the next off season. So they're just getting by at this point. That's really how I see it. I see it nothing else than they're doing is getting by, and if they lose, they lose. If they win, they win. This is not a winning formula. I don't think the Raiders are trying to win this year.
You know what? What I was gonna say here is with Antonio Pierce, people were like when they won their first two games,
Mm-hmm.
people were like, "Ooh, Antonio Pierce, is he gonna be the head coach next year?" Okay, your first two games were against the Giants and the Jets. Don't
Mm-hmm.
get excited here, folks. Don't get excited. I think they I think they put too much money. People put too much money on him in the first two games and think he was going to be the head coach. Nah, the like what you said, Reg. The Raiders are just sticking anyone so they could just get by, and they're gonna hire someone next year. Who is that gonna be? We have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But don't get Antonio Pierce is not going to be the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders last year. I'm going to say that right now. He is not going to say that.
Yeah, yeah. He's not gonna be. He probably won't be on staff because I don't know what the next coach really wants. So yeah,
Yeah, so we talk about the Chargers being depleted. The Raiders may be just as depleted.
yeah. I mean, right now none of the big names are out, but a lot of them are game time decisions. Devontae Adams, I think he'll play. He was just a bit under the weather. Josh Jacobs has a quad, and then the biggest one, Max Crosby on defense. He's been injured with both of his knees over the past few weeks. Um, so if you lose Max Crosby on defense, he's a force, man. You lose him, that's a tough one to come back.
You're screwed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. You're pretty much screwed. That's your he's the anchor of your defense. So, um, so that's gonna be very tough. And like I said, right now the Chargers, I believe, are the more talented team than the Raiders are. So, just not having a Devontae Adams possibly out there is gonna be rough for O'Connell, who could use a big time weapon like Adams.
Yeah, because without Devontae Adams, you're going to be down a big weapon there, right there.
Yeah.
You're going to be down a big weapon, or Josh Jacobs. He's questionable as well. If you lose him, you're going to be in trouble. So why do I feel like we're going to be watching a game tonight of two depleted teams?
Well, because we are. The only difference is that, Chargers have big names out. The Raiders may have big names out. We're not quite sure yet. Um, but here's what I do know. Raiders offense can move. They couldn't even move with Devontae in the starting.
Just
So
talk about the all 3 points they made last week.
yeah, it's it. I mean, well, I mean, what even 3 points that they scored? That's the problem. They scored no points.
Yeah, talk about all. Okay, let me rephrase that. Talk to all 0 points they scored last week.
Yeah,
So this Raiders offense is just sad.
it's
It's
sad.
sad.
It's sad to know that 3 points was enough for the Vikings to beat them, and I know that they probably had more players available against the Jets, but it makes me crazy as a Jet fan that they lost to this team because right now there's clearly no plan here, no direction, no idea, no confidence in anybody, and like I said, I think the Raiders are just trying to get by. I don't even think they're trying. Or if they are
All right, let's
trying,
just
they
get to the
stink.
end of the season. We're gonna
Yeah,
regroup.
I think they're because to me they're either trying and sucking, or they're not trying and still sucking, and they don't care. Now, I'm not saying the players don't care. I'm sure the players do care, but it's tough when um when right now everything's just going south and even more and more and more and more and more downhill.
I can agree with you on that.
Yeah, so that's just the thing with this Raiders team. And Ado Kyle's trash. I know they drafted him, and I know they had to give him some type of playing time. They apparently trust him over Jimmy G, which
It's
again
weird.
shocks me. Um,
You made this effort to go for Jimmy G. Why don't you just start Jimmy G?
yeah, it makes no sense. And again, I'm not saying that Garoppolo is gonna all of a sudden make things better for the Raiders because he has not had a good season. But right now you have a rookie quarterback that you know right now doesn't have a good coaching staff around him. You have a interim head coach that is in over his head. I don't care what anyone says. Like, the smartest thing you can do is put in a proven, competent NFL quarterback. I don't care how he's done this season, that knows how to run the offense and can show the rookie the ropes. And the fact that you're not doing that, again, just brings back to the point. They're just trying to get through the season. They're not trying to do anything else but get through. And the weirdest part is that they're still in the damn playoffs. How is it possible? How is that possible?
And you know what? We talk about the NFC playoff picture being a dumpster fire because the NFC is such a crapshoot. All you got to do to get into the postseason is basically have a pulse. While we talk about how the AFC is how the AFC playoff picture is much tighter because you actually have better teams in the AFC than the
Well,
NFC.
better teams, but then you also have teams in the AFC that are also injured. They're depleted. So they have nobody. So because of that, that seventh spot, especially, it's going to be a big race for that. Um,
Yes, it's gonna be up in the air.
yeah, it'll be over for the Raiders though. It won't continue. Probably not after this week.
So,
Uh,
Reg, are they imploding?
they're not. I mean, it's not about whether they're imploding. They're just trying to get by. I think they imploded midway when they fired Josh McDaniels. That's
And
when they
listen,
imploded. At
that
this point, they're just picking up the rubble, and it's a it's a recovery, not a search mission. That's
Josh,
where they're at.
yeah, but when you got to look at the Raiders' culture over the past season or two,
Yeah.
you have the whole Gruden situation,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had Josh McDaniels, which Josh McDaniels should never be a head coach again.
Yeah, he shouldn't have been the head coach. It should have been that Rich Bisaccia guy. uh,
Yeah, you had a perfectly good interim head coach.
who deserved to take that interim tag off too. Um,
And you know what? I hope Raiders ownership think about that during the offseason when they're
yeah.
looking for a new head coach again. Like, I'll be honest, and might be a controversial opinion, but I think the Raiders franchise is unstable.
It's not controversial. You're not wrong. I mean, right now, Mark Davis does not know what he's doing. Um, he obviously has an outline of plan and all that stuff. So he clearly it's he again he right now he has no idea what he's doing, and he's just pulling every teeth out until they're all gone. Then he's gonna get implants, and hopefully those implants are gonna look good next season when
Because a
the
lot of those
AFC
implants
West
cost a
all
lot
of
of
a
money.
sudden gets tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher. Because let's be honest, the time to compete with the Chiefs in the West is now, when the Chiefs are vulnerable, and the Chiefs are very vulnerable this season.
Oh, they are. And we'll talk about that more in rapid fire, but they've lost their first two. This is the first time they've lost back to back games since 2021.
Wild, wild stuff. Now, another question.
Another answer.
It's not about whether he'll become the permanent head coach of the Raiders after 2023, but Antonio Pierce. I am impressed with his defense. His defense is always ready to go. Like he's a phenomenal coach.
Yeah, we
I
crapped on
think
them for
I
last week.
yeah, I think he gets an assistant job elsewhere. Let's just say that.
I can see him as a defensive coordinator somewhere.
Yeah, defensive coordinator, maybe a defensive line. Um, I think he'll be good at that. He needs a lot. He needs to be mentored by someone that knows how to coach in the NFL. It's a what the advantage that Antonio Pierce has is the fact that he's played in the NFL and actually had a great career. Bill, you know how great of a career he had. So yeah, it's he knows how the NFL works, but he's only been a player in the NFL. This is like one of his first seasons where he's actually been a coach in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Coaching and playing, it's two different things. So it's two different styles. Like you have to be really good at it. So he needs to be mentored by someone, whether it's in the college game or whether it's in the NFL, uh, about how to get a team going and everything. He certainly has the grit to be successful. He definitely has the hype. That's one of the things the players love about him is that he always gets the locker room going, and locker room celebrates with each other. He brings good vibes. So one of these days, if he learns right, he can get one. But right now, I think he should just stay in his lane and be an assistant until he's able to prove that.
I can agree with you on that. Like, I think he's done an okay job keeping the franchise stable.
Hmm.
And what I mean by stable is people aren't breaking out into fistfights.
Yeah, no, there's no chaos within the organization. Like
Because
obviously the Raiders are a mess no matter what. But yeah, there's no leaks like the Jets. There's no fighting, there's no finger pointing. It's all quiet and everyone is not talking about the Raiders because why would we talk about a bad franchise?
in retrospective, again, you had a coach who ended up being a terrible person, John Gruden, and you had another head coach who ended up having an ego the size of Texas,
Yeah.
Josh McDaniels. Because remember that whole thing that Antonio Pierce and Josh McDaniels got into when
Hmm.
Antonio Pierce was saying, we got to start our own culture. Like when on the Giants, we ended up, and we ended up winning the Super Bowl. And Josh McDaniels goes, "Don't you dare talk bad about the Patriots again." What's wrong, Josh? Did somebody insult Daddy Belichick? Are you gonna go cry to Daddy Belichick, Josh? Well, you can't go back to New England because Belichick and the Pats are reportedly parting ways. So unless Belichick goes somewhere else, Joshy boy, you're out of a job. I'm sorry. I am starting to highly dislike Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, he's a weirdo for sure. Very, very big weirdo. And it's a good that he's not coaching a team in this league right now. So we get to tonight. If he plays Bill, one of the biggest players that it needs to come through big is Max Crosby. Again,
I was actually thinking the same thing.
I don't know how healthy he's going to be, but they definitely have to come up big because look, we're talking about how the Raiders, they have some injuries. The Chargers have players out on offense. So this is the time to, if they really want to win this game, they have to beat them up on defense.
If Devontae's playing or Jacobs is playing or Crosby is playing, I could see the Raiders potentially winning this game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But the problem is that the offense doesn't move, so that your defense has to be, um, it has to be the ones to win you the game. Versus the Chargers, where the offense probably has to win you the game, despite the fact that you know you don't have much offense. At least the Raiders have somewhat of a good defense. Again, Pierce has done a great job with that defense, so I do give him credit um, for that. They take the ball away. Uh, they held Minnesota to 3 points. Minnesota was on a roll for a little bit. So yeah, it's one of those days. It's gonna be a very big time defensive game from the Raiders because they can't score.
Okay. So, Red, do you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time for rapid fire.
Let's go, baby.
All right. Let me set the clock. Okay. 2 minutes. All right. And here we go. After the major collapse on Monday night, are the Dolphins in trouble in the AFC East?
No, the Dolphins are perfectly fine. I know fans are a little worried, especially from Barstool, Frank the Tank. He goes nuts every time the Dolphins lose. He went absolutely crazy on Twitter and all that stuff. But the bottom line is this: the Dolphins are fine. They're in a good position. They had a tough loss. It was a bad one too, because they, like I said, they had a complete meltdown. They were up by 14 with under 3 minutes to go, and they blew it. So bad job, but no, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. And the Bills are not catching them in the division. I don't care what anyone says.
Now, I can agree with you on that. I don't see the Bills catching up.
Yeah.
It could happen, but I don't see
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
Next question, and this is on all of Giant fans in the great state of New Jersey's mind.
Hmm.
After his great performance in the past couple games, especially Monday night, is Tommy DeVito the answer for the New York Giants?
He can be. He's better than Daniel Jones.
Oh, you don't even have to tell me twice. You do
Look,
not have to tell me twice.
yeah. Look, he won't be the starter next year, but guy can play. Guy's pretty dope. You give him a couple years, finesse that game a little bit. Let's see. I don't know if the
Like,
Giants want to keep him, but they should keep him on the
no,
roster.
I think the Giants should keep him. And listen, if it's a choice between if you have two backups, and if you're going to drop someone, if you're choosing either Tyrod or DeVito, I would choose DeVito.
Yeah. Well,
I think
DeVito's
Tyrod's getting up
younger.
there in age.
Probably has a bigger upside than Tyrod because Tyrod getting older, but DeVito also there's this feel of confidence, and he brings the big energy to the franchise. Something that Tyrod doesn't really do very well. And Tyrod's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong, but DeVito brings a lot of energy to that locker room. So I like him a lot.
Especially after he has those chicken cutlets.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Remember when we were talking about his agent with the fedora on? Like,
Yes.
God, I love his agent. I love his family. Like, it's a really a great story.
Because I've been seeing on the giant on my Giants Facebook pages go, I'd rather see the DeVito family than Taylor Swift and the Kelsey family, which
100%, bro. On 100.
again, I agree because I said this on our Audible the other night. Um, on Monday night, I said this. It's just that I think Tommy DeVito and his family are just way more relatable. And I have nothing against Mama Kelsey. She seems like a very sweet lady.
Yeah,
But Tommy DeVito just seems relatable. A dude who lives home, a dude who lives home, his mom loves his mom's cooking, and I think that's more relatable to someone like us than people who are, than someone like Travis Kelsey, who's a millionaire dating a billionaire pop star, which again, I have nothing against. And also on a personal side, Tommy DeVito's dad is a plumber, and my dad was a plumber, so I can kind of connect with that. So
yeah, yeah. I mean
see, he's
that
just so much more relatable.
it's the hometown, small town, big city. Working hard, all together. It's definitely something.
And then, okay, final question: Are the Kansas are are the Kansas City Chiefs gonna clinch the AFC West, or can the Broncos possibly catch them?
So the Chiefs have lost two in a row, and the Denver Broncos are soaring. Right now the Chiefs, they haven't looked great all year. And I know they've had some injuries, but for the most part, you're seeing the same players out there the entire season. And they're only what, like 8-5 or something like that. Like it's right now, I look at the Chiefs and I see a lot of flaws, probably too many of them. So, do I think that they could lose it? Yeah. Do I think they're going to lose it? Probably not. They'll probably find their way to the division victory. Don't count this Broncos team out, though. This Broncos
Oh, I
team they have been excellent. Pretty much since pretty much since the Jet game. They've been looking pretty much like an actual NFL team. And I know, like I said, they've had losses here and there, but The Broncos, they have changed their season around. That's all on Sean Payton. That's all on Russell Wilson. They've both of them together have figured it out. They found a formula and it's working. It is working. So don't count
And
out the Broncos for the division, but I just can't see the Chiefs just completely imploding and losing that. I can't.
unless Patrick Mahomes gets a call that doesn't go his way and he's complaining again,
And then
which
and then
I don't know.
he'll
I'm still pissed off about that.
yeah,
Like,
look,
seriously, Patrick, grow up.
and look, he can apologize and everything, but the bottom line is, dude, you did this to yourself.
You should have just went over, shake Josh Allen's hand, say good game, and walk
Yeah,
away.
but now you need your formula so you can grow a pair.
And you have to have Brittany post weird things on
Yeah, well,
social
yeah,
media.
and that's enough. Like family members just stay out of it. Stay out of it. I've never
Like
seen
it,
I have never seen the Chiefs this rattled ever. Ever. That's the amazing part about this whole thing.
yeah, but here's the thing. When it comes to when it comes to the Chiefs, and with a rattle 2 games in a row, could it have been maybe this Chiefs team? I hate to say it. I think this Chiefs team might be overrated.
They're not no, because they're as advertised. They have flaws. They're not overrated. The Chiefs have shown you what type of team they are. They have all season. They're showing you that they don't have the offensive pieces that they used to. So that's a thing. They've shown you that their defense can come up big at times, but they can also come up very small. You know, depending on the game, obviously. So yeah, no, the Chiefs have shown you all season exactly who they are, which is a flawed team that has gone away, gotten lucky. They've won games, and because of their luck, they are winning the division. But the bottom line is, you know, they may not they may not be as good as you think you are. And that's the thing everywhere. That's what people are thinking about them everywhere. It's not surprising that the Chiefs are as bad as they this season.
I can agree with you on that. So yeah, that's the AFC West, and with the Chiefs, and that's rapid fire. Reg, big question. Who do you got tonight?
Um, I'm gonna go with the Raiders. Um, just because I don't trust Staley as a coach, and I think the Chargers are too depleted. Um, and I have no idea what Easton Stick's gonna do. So I'll take the Raiders. They won't win big because the Raiders can't score on offense either. But it'll probably be like a 14-10 type of deal.
I'm rooting for the giant meteor. Um, because I'm sorry, this is a game that I think, unless you live in the Los Angeles or Las Vegas area, you have no interest in. I think about 90% of the country has no interest in this game.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna pick the Raiders as well because even though this offense can't move, the Chargers offense is absolutely depleted. Because, like I said, no Herbert, no Allen. You got people who are out. Is Easton Stick going to overwhelm the offense with Quentin Johnson and Austin Eckler? That's the big question for tonight. So I am going to pick the Las Vegas Raiders of Oakland.
All right. So we both have the Raiders to win tonight. I'm excited. Not.
Yeah, this game people are not excited for.
It's horrible. It's a horrible game. It's a horrible game.
Well, we
Um,
got through talking about it, so that's a win.
yep, that is a win in itself. Yeah, I really hope these games are like better. The games are not getting any better. That's the problem.
The Thursday night games have really been crap this year.
I know, but luckily for us, we won't have to talk about Thursday night football for like a week or so. I'll be on vacation. I don't know about you, but I'll be on vacation. So, um,
Yeah, I think we might have to address something really quick. Next week, I don't know if we're doing a show or not because Reg is gonna be away. And since it's right before the holidays, I don't know if we can get anyone,
yeah,
if anyone's free or not. And also I think when it comes to podcasts, I don't know if we've announced this. We're gonna be taking the next 2 weeks off,
yeah.
for the holidays and everything.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean,
And
if we want to do live shows, we can still do that for sure.
yeah, well,
Um,
we'll probably do
yeah,
maybe not this week, but the following week because the Jets are playing Thursday night, so we may do a
we'll definitely get another Thursday night gridiron. Um, it won't be the last time you'll see us on Thursday night. But definitely on podcast wise, you won't be hearing from much. There still will be one more SIP before uh
our holiday break.
yeah.
And who knows, maybe we'll do like a Monday night live stream. Who
Yeah,
knows?
if we're bored, I don't know.
If we're
I'll be fine.
yeah, so we just yeah, we're just like you folks. We want to take a little time off for the holidays.
Yep, and spend time with our families and not have to stress about, always working. So, and that's what we do
But
here. But
don't get us wrong, we love doing this for you guys,
oh
though.
no,
We
no,
love
no.
doing
Yeah,
it.
that's the beauty part about it. We love our jobs. We love what we do, and we want to give you the best content possible, and that is our goal from today and beyond. But at the same time, we want to have the time to spend with our loved ones, especially ones that we don't get to see much. And Bill, you have a family that's a very close knit. You guys are always together. My family isn't always together nowadays, so I want to see my family. So,
Yeah. Because but we love doing this for you guys, and we love our jobs. As Mark Twain famously said, turn your vocation to a vacation and you'll never work a day in your life. And when we do this, it doesn't feel like work
those
because
are those are beautiful words, Bill. That's actually a really good point.
yeah, turn your vocation into a vacation and you'll never work a day in your life.
Mm.
Because like we said, when we do this, hopefully one day we get to do this,
Mhm. Exactly.
and because when we do this, it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
But
Um,
yeah, so Thursday night, let's just say for the next week or so, things are kind of up in the air.
yeah. And again, we'll reconvene after next week. We'll see where we go. But for right now, that'll do it for us on Thursday Night Gridiron. Chargers, Raiders, enjoy it. It should be somewhat of a good night. It's not. It's a terrible game. But I'm trying my best here. I'm trying my hardest, but um, yeah, no, that'll do. That'll do. Let's go Jets this weekend. Hopefully they'll keep their playoff hopes alive. It's very slim. It's less than 1%, but still, there's still a chance.
You
There's
still gotta. I think if you beat Miami this week, you're gonna be doing
Oh
back.
my goodness gracious. Yo, I am ready for all the chaos. Give me all that stuff. Uh, but seriously, folks, enjoy the football. Enjoy the week ahead. Um, we back probably for Browns Jets. Maybe
So if I don't see you next week, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, and
Yeah, that's right. It is. Yeah. Merry Christmas. That's right. Yeah.
if I'm not here next week,
Yeah.
if I am, well, I'll see you next week.
All right.
Everything's up in the air right now. It's that time of year.
Yeah, it is that time of year.
All
Folks.
right. So if you want to see more, go to www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com, where you can check out our blogs, the bios of our show, check out our podcasts available on all platforms.
Mhm.
Check us out on X at Sports Insanity Real. Check us out
S
on
S
Facebook.
S Insanity Real.
Correction, S
S
Insanity
Insanity
Real.
Real.
Like us on Facebook and like, comment, subscribe to us here on YouTube.
Yep. Right below the screen. It says subscribe. There's a
Hit that
bell.
bell, people. Hit that
Hit it.
bell.
Get notifications.
Hit the bell.
All right.
All
Take
right, we'll
care.
see you. See you soon. Stay safe and take care.